When I left Terrence's house, I went to the local supercenter and bought a couple of no-contract phones, black pants, black hoodie, and black shoes. I changed clothes and called Tony. He met me. We switched cars. He handed me my old laptop, and I handed him 2 phones. I told him what was up, and if I needed anything else, I would call. I headed back to Terrence's house just in time to see what I figured would happen. He called my phone to make sure I made it home safely, and I assured him I was safe. And when we hung up, his secretary pulled up. That's all I really needed to see, but that's rarely enough for me. My blood was boiling, so I went home to start my research with the secretary's name. I wasn't digging up information about her because I was mad with her, although she knew who I was and played in my face. It was just easier to do a reversal dig, to find what I needed to know about Terrence. When men cheat with women who know about the main woman, the women often do things that reveal themselves. Sometimes, hoping if the main woman finds out, then the guy leaves and she can have him. The insecurities of this type of woman always get her seen. So, I knew she was going to give me something, and she did. I got pictures and locations of places she went and saved them. It could mean nothing, but she had plenty of pictures of her, freely showing her surroundings. So I looked at the ones that showed just a restaurant and plate, up-close selfie, and any caption that was more code than anything. I went to sleep that night, knowing I was at the edge of being who I fought so hard not to be, that side of me that scared me a little bit. Yet and still, I took a deep breath, deciding that vengeance was going to be mine. I was becoming consumed. The next morning, I got my usual text from Terrence. "Good morning, beautiful." I thought to send "go to hell," but I remained cool enough to send "hey, good morning, handsome." I spent my Sunday swaying on the ledge of hell and preparing my files for work on Monday. See? It's something about how my insanity looks creepily normal. My anger is rather calm, and in crisis situations, I remain calm. It's hard to read the difference when I have learned how to compose myself in the middle of the craziest situations. I'm like the calm before the storm, except I remain calm even in the middle of the storm. There is no panic look. My decisions are intentional and thought out rather than emotional reactions. I experienced what I call the spiral into insanity. I cried, then I contemplated killing him. I cried, then I decided to just walk away. Finally, I screamed and decided to get even. Here's where I started to become the Vendetta. I absolutely was willing to cross whatever boundaries that were put in place to respect each other. All of that went out of the window. The only thing I wasn't going to do was kill him, but anything else we'll see. I made the decision that I was going to pay whatever the price was, because I didn't want to let this go. I just couldn't let him get away with it. He had to pay, even if it cost me. What I'm about to tell you, I did required me to kill the best parts of me, to allow the worst of me to reign. It was death to me, and somehow I was willing to kill me emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to make sure Terrence felt the immense pain I was in and to always be reminded not to play with me. Here begins the best acting of my life. I continued to smile, date, and sex Terrence because I now needed to keep the access I had to execute my plan of vengeance. I went to a therapist and talked about the depression and pain I was feeling. It was true to an extent. No, I didn't tell her why. I just needed her to note the depression and pain enough that I would need meds and a break. I had short-term disability insurance that covered emergencies, and this was considered a medical emergency. My position would be held for 2 months, and my insurance covered 80% of my pay. I made my way to my job to sign paperwork and give the paperwork needed. I made sure I wore something super casual and oversized with sunglasses. I needed to look distressed. No one knew what the real issue was, and legally couldn't say why I was taking a short leave of absence. I told Mrs. Suzanne I had an emergency and would be out of town for a while. The same story I told her son. See, the people who can talk need to have the same information, general and nothing specific.